OK, we're going to move on and talk about the next part of your life, which was a million miles away from show business and award ceremonies. I want to talk to you about the death of Stuart Lubbock. We should say that you were found innocent of everything in a court of law. But I think it's fair to say you probably didn't come out of it very well in terms of your PR and your reputation and the public's perception of you. Two very honest questions for you. Do you think you reacted badly to it? And secondly, do you think the press gave you a far more difficult time than you deserved?
It's a combination of both. I mishandled the situation. Nobody's trained in how to deal with tragedy. When you consider I've been in people's front rooms all my life, making them happy, how do you deal with remorse on a public scale? It's not something, that's where I did get into the and ahhing thing, and then not feeling should I say this, shouldn't I say that, is it right to say this, instead of just saying it. I can do it now. And then what compounded that as well is the outrageous reporting by, not all of them, but a lot of the media, turning it into something that wasn't quite what it was, and to the extreme of outrageous headlines and front pages. And it was almost too juicy for the editors to go another route. The Independent was the only one who went, there's something wrong here, this is not right, and wrote the facts. But the Independent, as good as the paper is not strong enough to override, tabloids that sell millions of papers. Basically they wrote me off. Now, I've been through many times in my life when I've been written off. I must be on an elastic or something, because, the first time I went to rehab in Baltimore, I got blown apart by the tabloid there, and I thought, oh, this is it. Sam Ferrier, goodbye career. Public supported me, coming out, again, not... if that had been 10 years earlier, maybe I would have lost my career. Decades have changed all our lives, for the good, some for the bad, but, And then the divorce, when I was asked, do you have any regrets in life? I said, well, I don't go down the road of regrets. My life's my life, it's my journey, but I would say not having children is a regret. I would love to have had those, but we couldn't. And not having an amicable divorce, the fact that it was so battling in front on a public stage. And I suppose the combination of that, and it took time for me to come through to realise, hang about, I'm not standing for this anymore. It's not fair. I don't see why I should be bashed from pillar to post for something I'm not responsible and I have nothing to do with. And it's just convenient because of my surname to always put it in the headline, whether it's got nothing directly to do with me. And then in the subtext, about halfway down, you key, oh yes, of course we know he wasn't responsible and had nothing to do with it. Well, people don't read. When you're driving past, you'd see a really strong headline that's really damning you. That's what goes into people's minds, and it's taken a long period to, I had to deal with me first. That's why I went to New Zealand. I didn't run away. I was at home in this country staring at brick walls. It wasn't healthy. I'd have ended up 6 foot under, and it was a survival thing. But I'm not fearful of it anymore, and I do agree with you, I perhaps didn't deal with it very well at all, but then I haven't got a book on how to deal with life.
Is there any worse feeling in the world than opening a newspaper in a morning and seeing your picture on the front page and a headline that is not positive towards you?
Oh, absolutely. I don't think all the years, I've had many years of press and following to that intensity and, being followed all the time by motorbikes, being followed by cars, outside my house all the time, helicopters over the house taking shots, so your garden's given any sanctuary. It's not, I wouldn't wish it on anybody, but I dealt with it, and I dealt with it in the way I needed to. Sometimes I struggled. I did wake up one morning and thought, I don't know, I'll be better for out of this. And I thought to myself, what the hell are you talking about? Just put yourself in the shower, put your clothes on, and just put yourself in the day. And, I'm not going to make any excuses anymore for keep having to, go down a road of going, well, I'm not sure, and just be very positive. I have to get on with my life, as does everybody else.
And moving on to Big Brother, where people got to see you again after all the bad stuff that had gone on. It was the first time we got to see you. Was that a mistake, or are you glad you did it?
Well, at first I said no to it, but I've got to say, just quite clearly, I was glad I did it. Absolutely. It was really intense in there. Most of the crying at the beginning was me reacting to how fantastic the public were for when I went in. It was like rehab with cameras, and I've done enough of those.
Michael Barrymore talking to me recently in Birmingham about his life and career.
The Alex Belfield In Conversation podcast.